Hi class, welcome back. Now I'm going to show you how to print your test plates from home. So this is what you're going to need, your plates and paper. So I bought some watercolor paper because it's the closest thing to printmaking paper that you can find easily. You can find it in some grocery stores and bookstores, and it's a lot easier to find. However, if you can't find it, you can use what you have at home. Construction paper, computer paper, wrapping paper, whatever, see what you have and experiment. Anyway, if you can buy watercolor paper, it works pretty well. It's very much like printmaking paper. It's nice and thick. It does have this texture on it that's a little different. So I have found through my experiments that I prefer to print on the smooth side. It's kind of, both sides are pretty textured, but one side's a little smoother than the other. So I write an X on the back, on the side that's more bumpy, so that way I don't forget. And I did that with all of them. Made a little X so that I wouldn't forget which side was the front or the back. Now you might decide you like the bumpy side, you like the bumpy texture, and that's fine. Remember, this is just a test print, and we're obviously, making the best of what we can with the situation, so I understand completely. Anyway, you'll need to do 3 of these. I cut 4 just so I could have an extra. Now, the first thing we're going to have to do is make our registration guide. So, first things first, you take your paper and you trace it with pencil. Then, you take your plate. Now, if you want, you can take a ruler and measure absolutely perfectly. I'm just going to eyeball it. All right, there's my registration guide. So now we have to soak our paper in water. I have prepared this leftover food container full of water. You can use anything, any kind of bowl, tray, sink, anything. Put them in the water. Make sure it covers the whole thing. Okay, and then one at a time. Put them in. If you just put them all in at once, then the water's not going to get in between the papers and it won't be properly soaked through. So you want to make sure you really put them down one at a time and that they're completely covered with the water. Now with normal printmaking paper, you could let this soak for about 5 minutes, but I think the watercolor paper does require longer than that. I would let it soak for an hour. Hi class, welcome back. It's been about 40 minutes. I've decided my paper is ready because I can tell that it's very soft and bendy. So it feels like that, you're good to go. So I'm gonna get all my supplies together. Some tape, my registration guide, my plate of course. This is chalk pastel that I found works really well. And here I have some graphite sticks. This one is 6B, as well as a 6B woodless pencil, and a bunch of washable markers, some thick ones and thin ones. This one is from Daiso. This one is from All Prints bookstore. And I also have some watercolor brushes. And then I have an old towel that you're going to use to blot the paper. Okay. So first we're going to get our plate ready, and we're just going to do a basic one to start, just nice and simple, using the chalk pastel. So make sure you do it on the side that is textured, obviously, not the other side. So you just rub the pastel over the image. See? And blow off the excess. All right. Now we have to blot our paper. So we lay our towel down. Take one of the sheets out of the water. Just getting the moisture out. Now you want it to still be damp, but not dripping wet, and you don't want it to be shiny anymore. Okay, so that looks good. Damp piece of paper. Bring back the registration guide. So your paper is going to go there. Let's see. Let's put a little tape to keep it in place. Okay. Put your plate in the marks that you made for it. Flip the paper back down. You have to rub the tape down to keep it there. Okay, now I have this kind of old broken spoon. You can use a spoon or like a wooden spoon for cooking. And then I'm just going to rub it. I'm doing pretty firm pressure. I don't want it to move, that's why there's tape. But even with the tape, you have to hold it down because the tape doesn't stay that well when it's wet. But it helps a little bit. Okay, I'm going to peek at it. And I can see that it's printing really well in certain places, but other places maybe I didn't get it enough. So I put this back down and I focus on those spots. Now if we were at school, we'd put it through the press, obviously, but okay, that's much better. Okay, there you have it. So we can take the tape off. There you go. So there's one print. So for this you want to do 3, and they should all be different. So you could do a different color, but I'm going to show you some other fun techniques that you can do as well. So again, with damp paper towel, you can clean out your plate. Okay, let's see. So the way to keep that clean, this time I'm going to use markers. So I'm going to try one technique where I just go over the whole thing with the marker. Let's try some different colors. All right, now we're going to let this dry. All right, it's dry now. So we're going to get another piece of paper. From the water. Get a registration guide. Paper down, remember with the X showing, because you want that in the back. So we're going to need some new tape because it doesn't really stay sticky for a second piece of paper. I'm going to push it down so hopefully it stays. Okay, so I'm going to put plate in. This time I'll have it face you guys so you can watch the whole thing from your angle. Okay, put it down. Take the spoon. Try to get the whole thing now because I put marker on the whole thing. Let's peek at it. Ooh. Okay, good. So you can see that the marker ink kind of pools around the lines a little bit, and you can see it, though it is subtle. Now we're going to try a combo one. So it's going to have 2 layers. So a little bit of a damp paper towel to clean it off. So we're going to do 2 layers, and this time we'll do a combination of markers and also watercolor. Let's see. We can make the saxophone orange, I guess. Why not? Okay. All right. Let's add a little watercolor. Okay, now this has to dry. Okay, so now the watercolor has dried. I took another piece of paper out of the water. Where's the X? There's the X. Sometimes it does come off, you just put it back. Let's see. Did I miss any spots? A little bit in here. All right. So just keeping it in place, take damp paper towel, clean off the plate, and let's dry it. Okay, now I'm going to put the chalk pastel on it again. Okay. Put it in there. Now if it moves a little bit, you just use the lines to put it back in place. Right? Not the biggest deal in the world. Okay, needs a little bit more in the middle. All right, nice. So, you know, you can always take an old one that you've already done stuff to and add more layers to it. So let's do that with this one. I'm adding more of the chalk onto it, and I'm also going to add some markers as well. See what that looks like. So we can just use the marks that we have from before. Let's see, use a little bit more in the middle. Okay. So you can see where the yellow overlaps with the blue, it creates green. So there you have it. 1, 2, and 3. And that is how you print your test plate. Okay, class, if you are unable to get watercolor paper, you need to use computer paper. And here's how you do that. Take your tray. Now you only have to dip them in for really a few seconds because they're so thin, the water's going to soak right through it, just like that. Okay, just like before, I'm going to blot the paper. You want to be pretty gentle with this paper because it is a lot weaker than the other paper. Now look what happened there. I got a crease in it just because when I folded it, the towel had a crease. Now, who cares? It's just a test plate, but you know, just something to pay attention to. All right, I've already loaded up my plate with chalk pastel. Okay, start with that one. Okay, now you might be able to just do it like this, but it is possible that it can rip. Doesn't seem to be ripping though, which is good. There's a spot right there. And a spot right here. So it is possible to print on this paper. However, if you are worried about it ripping, or if you try it once and it does rip, then a good idea is to take a magazine, paper over it, because this paper is tougher because it's been coated, and then press through that. That way your other paper is less likely to be ripped. Okay, I'm going to try one more thing, and that is using 6B graphite in both a graphite stick format and then also pencil. All right, I already have my paper out of the water. Doesn't have to be 6B, but for obvious reasons, it's, you know, the softest lead, so it prints the darkest. But you can also try whatever pencil you have. It needs more down here. A little bit more here. Okay. And there it is in graphite. So, make at least 3 of them. You can always do more if you want. take a picture of them all and upload them to the blog section today. All right, thank you.